Okay, we are back, and here is our exercise. So we have to think about what we were just doing up here. What was the place value and the value, because that's what this exercise asks us for. What is the place value and the value of the digit 4? So where is the 4 in each activity? And then we need, so I would first say I'm going to underline the 4 so I can see it and it stands out for me. So now I have to tell what's his place value. So the 4 is in the 1, 10, hundreds place. So his place value is hundreds, and he is a value of 400. Here my 4 is in the hundred, tens, ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, so he's in the thousands place, and he is worth 4,000. That's his value. Here my 4 is in the 1 tens place, and his value is 40. Here my 4 is in the ones place, and he has a value of 4. And here my 4 is behind that decimal, so he is in the tenths place, and he is worth 4 tenths, or 4, or 4 tenths, all different ways you can write that. So I hope that you were able to do that along with me. Here comes our next page. I'll pretend I'm erasing the board, and here I am back again. Okay, so now you are going to, in a minute after I explain what you're going to do, you're going to pause the video and see if you can figure out the answers to the questions, and then I will give them to you. So the exercise says, find the value of the underlined digit. So what is his value? So remember when we were talking on this page, the value is how much he is worth, is equal to. Not the place value, where is he? We want to know what is that number worth. So pause the video, figure it out. Okay, so I'm glad you've come back, and I hope that you've got all these answers right. So the 1 in this number, he is in the ones, tens, hundreds place, and he's a 1, so his value is 100. Hope you got that one right. This question, I have to figure out what the value of the 9 is. He's in the ones place, so his value is 9. Here I had to figure out what the value of the 8 is. It's in the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, so he is 8,000. Notice how he stays in 8 and just gets the 1,000 behind him. Number D, here he is, the 4 is behind the decimal. So that means he is smaller than a whole one. He is 4 tenths or 4 tenths. He is not even a whole one. And I need to know where the 2 is. The 2 is in the ones, tens place, so 2 tens would make 20. So I hope you got those all right. That was great work. So now I have what we call a place value chart. So I have given you a number, and we need to tell what parts of it are in the thousands, what are in the hundreds, tens, ones, and tenths. So if I'm looking at this number, here's my decimal. The number that comes behind my decimal is the tenths, so it's a 7. So I'm going to put 7 back there. Here's my ones number, it's a 1. Here's my tens number, it's a 3. And here's my hundreds number, and I'm going to put it right there. So notice how the number is still exactly the same order. 200, 3 tens, 1 1, 7 tenths. 231 and 7 tenths. So I'm going to start at the back here again. So this is behind the decimal, so it's going to be behind the decimal over there. 3 tenths. My ones place. Ooh, my tenths place has a 0 in there, so should I ignore that or should I put it into the spot? I think I should put it into the spot. Those of you who say, put it there, thank you, you were right. Then I have ones, tens, hundreds, 3 hundreds, and I have ones, tens, hundreds, 4 thousands. So there I have taken my number 4,302 and 3/10, and I've put them in their place value chart. So if this was my number, that was my next number. I'm going to start always at the back, because that way I know that I'm going to be filling them in right. Because if I was to start at the front, I'd go 4, 5, 9. And then that wouldn't be working out right. So I'm always going to start at the tenths. So my number behind the decimal here is a 9. So there's my decimal. I have 9/10. My 5 is how many ones I have, and my 4 is how many tens I have. So 45 and 9/10. Let's try this one. 3,704/10. Ooh, this is a tricky one. Okay, so I put my decimal there. So I have 4/10. My number behind my decimal goes back there. How many ones do I have? I have none. How many tens do I have? I have none. How many hundreds do I have? I have 7. And how many thousands? I have 3. Okay, we're going to do one more. Let's see. I'm going to pick 7 and 0/10. So there's my decimal. There's my decimal. Behind the decimal is a 0. Okay, I have no tenths, and in front I have a 7. And my 7 is in the ones place. And so there I have filled out my place value. Some of these don't have any numbers in there because there was no 1,000 here. Here there was no 100 or 1,000. Here there was no tens, hundreds, or thousands, so I just leave those boxes open. Okay, we're just moving along. I hope that you're catching on to all of this. So now we want to talk about expanded form. And we did this way back at the beginning of grade 4. I think it was probably one of the first 2 units that we did, was breaking things into their expanded form. So here's my number, 2,836 and 4/10. So when we break it into expanded forms, we're going to take this number, and he is really worth 2,000. He is really worth 800. He is worth 30. He is worth 6, and he is worth 4/10. So those are all my parts, 2,836 and 4/10. So I'm going to put my 4/10 back here. I'm going to put my 6. I'm going to put my 30. I'm going to put my 800 and my 2,000. So the expanded way of writing 2,836, 2,836 and 4/10, that is my expanded way of writing out that number. So if I was to do another one, I could say 436 and 9/10. So I can start with my 4. My 4 is 400. Plus, my 3 is 10, so that makes 30, plus 6 ones, plus 9/10. So that would be how I would put it in expanded form. One more. Let's do 9,307 and 5/10. So I have 9 thousands plus 3 hundreds. I don't have any tens, so some people like to go like this. You don't have to. You can put it there, but you don't have to. 7 ones and 5/10. So that's how you would take a number and put it into expanded form. Okay, now I got some really interesting questions for you. In these numbers, is the 3 or the 5 worth more? So, okay, we'll start in this number. That 3 is worth 300. 1, tens, hundreds. He's worth 300s. My 5 is in the tens place, so he's worth 50. So in this question, who is worth more, the 3 or the 5? And I would have to say the 3 because he's 300. The 5 is only worth 50. And this number is the 5 or the 3 worth more. So the 5 here is in the 1, 10, 100, thousands place, so he is 5,000. And here the 3 is in the tens place, so he's worth 30. So who is worth more, the 5 or the 3? Oh boy, that 5 is worth a ton more. Here's my 3, here's my 5. My 3 is in the ones place, so he's worth 3. My 5 is in the tenths place, so he's worth less than a whole number. He's only worth 5 parts of a chocolate bar. So there, my 3 is worth more. Here's my 3 and here's my 5. He's in the 1/10s place, so he's worth 30. My 5 is in my tenths place, so he's worth part of a chocolate bar, not even a whole chocolate bar, so my 3 is worth more. I will be back in this part 3, so see you in a minute in part 3.